All right, so we are back, you guys, for another podcast. Man, I don't know. Again, I always say that, but I think we're like at episode number 28 or 29 or something. But again, another podcast, guys. Another super guest, someone that again is going to give you a lot of inspiration, a lot of gems, a lot of whatever you need, I guess. If you're an entrepreneur, you're an athlete, or whatever it is, it's someone that I've known for a while now. Someone that is I want to say dear to my heart because he's a really good friend. He's had me at his office. Really, he's put together something really nice. He's working with a lot of great brands, a lot of great events as well. He's working in the media space. So man, without further ado, my guy, the myth, the legend, I guess, Jeremy, my guy, how's it going, man?
Good, good, good. Thanks for the intro.
Yeah,
I appreciate it, man. Things are okay.
pleasure. How you been? How you been? How's everything? How's work? How's business?
Just working day to day. Same thing. Another day is it's just it is what it is. Just working every day towards the same goal and just trying to be a better version of myself each day, right? So
100%. Yeah, I saw that you were working for a Rogers Cup, I think last week or something.
yeah, it's actually called the National Bank Open by
Oh,
Roger.
really?
Yeah, it changed names, yeah.
Okay. When
But,
when did that happen?
yeah, maybe last year, this year. I'm not sure, but
Okay. I hope it
contractually,
wasn't like
National Bank Open.
okay. I hope it wasn't like 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
Everybody
no, no,
playing
no, no,
Rogers Cup.
no, no, no. But yeah,
Yeah, and
that was a
yeah,
fun
so
one.
man, for the people that don't know you, like who are you? Who's Jeremy? What you do for a living? Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, for sure. So I actually just turned 28 years old. From Montreal, as you know, and my main business is Elevate Media, where we're at right now.
Hmm.
It's a marketing agency that I started when I was 20 years old. And basically, we're like your one-stop shop for all that is like creative marketing. We used to really be in the social media space, but now it's really like, you have a marketing project, and if we feel we can help, we'll do it. And I have a really solid team around me. And we're specializing like in website, creative content, events, you name it. Honestly, we do it. We don't turn down a challenge, and we don't necessarily have a niche. We like all types of challenges. So
Hmm.
that's what we do. And then lately, I've been involved in some different projects about as well, some fun ones, which is making me go outside the box a little bit, but I like it. And yeah, that's what's going on right now.
Yeah, man, it's really nice. I've been to your office and I'm even on social media. I see that you work with a lot of like, as we just spoke about, like National Bank Open.
Yeah.
That's a new name. You work also with like artists and stuff. I don't know what's the name of the artist, but I know that you've been like really involved with an artist of Montreal. I think is
Yeah.
Lebanese or something. What's his name?
Yeah. Yes, his name is Fatty KOD.
Yeah.
Uh, Good friend, artist, talented artist. But a good person. I like working with people that I believe in,
Mm-hmm.
and people that I think give you the flex. Like if they believe in you,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and they trust you with their careers and whatever, then we like to look at different avenues to put them on the map a little bit. And so
Yeah.
that's what we do with Fatty. Been working with him for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Good. Before we go deeper into what you do and with Elevate Media, I want you to talk a little bit about your background. How did you get to where you are right now? What's your story? If we can say.
For sure. I was just like your average, I think, teen. I was big into sports, so I played I played three sports at a decent level. I would say soccer, hockey, and tennis. And the last one being tennis, I got the furthest, if you will, with it. And I went to or my goal was to go to the United States and play on a tennis scholarship, which I was offered. Decided to stay at Concordia and do John Molson.
Mm-hmm.
Played for the Concordia team for 4 years. And in my fourth year, there was like this wave of social media that was coming around, and I decided to watch a video. Thought it was interesting. Figured out a couple tricks, and then before I knew it, I was walking around JMSB offering local restaurants and businesses like to manage their Instagram just for free food in exchange, or just to hook me up for a day. I had like this trick where I can get like instant followers. I thought I was a genius. And before I knew it, I had something cool. And not to make it boring, the first time, literally the first client I had, a client called Fresh MCL inside Gold's Gym in Laval. They paid me for a shoot, or I can't even remember. And the second I got paid, I was like, listen, I'm getting paid now. I don't need school no more. I actually had a couple of health problems in school, so I was a bit behind on my main classes. I had finished all my marketing classes, and I was like, honestly, I didn't really learn too much. I feel like modern marketing, it's marketing like we say in French, like à l'ancienne.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, if we can bring in the modern wave and I can do that, I can be of service to these businesses locally in Montreal. So I gave it a shot. Once Fresh MTL gave me that first paycheck for a shoot, I thought, I had the world on my shoulders, and I was like, I don't need school anymore. I had finished my athletic career, so I decided to jump into social media, and I actually dropped out of university in my last year.
Wow. And how old were you when all that happened? Were you, I think, probably in your early 20s or something?
Yeah, I was 20 turning 21 in the summer. So yeah, 20 years old I started.
Mm-hmm.
And for a little bit I was just on my own, just figuring it out. And then I created Elevate officially when I was 21 years old.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I love it because I said it on a previous podcast, but it reminds me of my entrepreneurial journey when I was, I think, 18 or 19. I started a window cleaning company out of
yeah.
like thin air, honestly, because I was on YouTube just watching a bunch of like entrepreneurial videos, and I bumped into a guy that was washing windows, and he explained like the whole, the products, how to make the concoction, I guess, what material to buy and stuff like that. And I just basically bought everything for like $100, and I went door to door, businesses, houses. And it's crazy because when you're bold, and I think that's what you need when you want to become an entrepreneur, you need to be bold enough, not be scared, like be fearful, and just
Yeah.
kind of dive into the unknown and just learn your way. And eventually someone's going to believe in you, someone's going to trust in your project and your vision. And I guess that's what happened to you. And then eventually it opened a door for you to do more and to get to the point you are right now. So honestly, that's always, to me, hearing people's story is always inspiring, because a lot of people can see where you are right now and just think it happened like all of out of nowhere, but there's really a
Yeah.
story behind it. So man, congrats for that,
Thank
for
thank
everything
you.
that you did. I also know that you mentioned your athlete background, and a lot of entrepreneurs, not all entrepreneurs, but I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs have some sort of athletic
Background.
career,
Yeah. Yeah.
athlete career or background. And how how did your I guess athlete background help you in your entrepreneurial journey? What did you learn that you were able to implement per se?
I think it's the mental thing, especially like the sports I played. I played a lot of team sports, but towards the end of my career, if you want to call it that, when I played and I focused on tennis, tennis is a really individual sport. It's one of those. Granted, in college tennis, you play as a team, but you still have that individual aspect where it's just you versus you. Like a lot of times, you're able to beat your opponent by either getting into their head or just being in the best mental space personally, so comfortable in your zone, if you will, that the opponent doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's that competitive drive. And when you have that competitive background and when you're so individually driven, that can really reflect into what it takes to be an entrepreneur. And so I actually see the correlation between athletes and entrepreneurs. And I think that if you have that background, it definitely helps, when you're on your own. Because at the end of the day, you're still, you still have a goal, an objective, and it's all on you to get that done. Granted, when you build a team, you have a lot more help. But
Mm-hmm.
in order to get there, you got to start somewhere. And same way you can't just grow up and be, a professional soccer player. You can't just be it's not overnight. You got a lot of steps you got to take to get to the ultimate goal. And so I think building yourself up through sports and then translating that into entrepreneurship, there's a lot of value there, and there's a lot of correlation. And I really think that my background, especially in tennis, helped
Mm-hmm.
me a lot in becoming the person and the entrepreneur I am today, for sure.
100%, 100%. Because I know even myself, I played a lot of sports growing up. I think I played like all sports, honestly. And one thing that being an athlete at a certain level taught me is I think it's just not because when you let's say when you play tennis, you have practice every day, you have games, and let's say you miss a point or there's maybe one play that you didn't perform well, whatever went on, and especially in tennis, there's so many tournaments that you can't let one tournament affect the other one, regardless of your performance. Even if you did well, you won the trophy or not. There's another one coming next, and I think
Yeah.
in entrepreneurship is the next thing. It's the same thing in the sense of regardless of your past performance yesterday or the last month, there's a new month coming up. There's a new day coming up that you still have to perform, regardless of your past performance. I think there's a quote that says, "Yesterday's performance don't win today's games," or something like that. I don't remember the
Yeah, I got
exact
you.
quote, but it's just to
Yeah.
say every day is a new day, every day is a new month, and as an entrepreneur, it's easy to get caught up in past performances. The same way as an athlete, you can get caught up in like past performances, but there's always a new month, there's always a new day, and you have to perform every day, and that's something I feel like as an employee or whatever, you don't always feel that certain pressure, I guess, to perform every day. So yeah, being an entrepreneur with an athlete background is, I would say, an advantage. I don't know if you call it an advantage or not for you. For you,
Yeah.
how do you feel about that? Do you feel like it's an advantage or not really?
It's an advantage, but you know what? You were talking just now and it made me think about it. Like you have to, in tennis, especially going back to the individual sport aspect, every point is a new point. And in tennis, it's not just, like in soccer, you can score a goal and that can determine the whole game. In tennis, you have to win X amount of points. Just
Yeah.
to win one game, you have to win 4 points. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? In a row. So um, every point you got to reset, refocus, and fight for that next point. Just like in entrepreneurship, every day, you got to take on the challenges of the day, reset, refocus, and fight the next day.
Mhm.
And I think that's the challenge of being an entrepreneur, but that's what makes it so rewarding too, is that you fight every day, you see the rewards, and there's short term and there's long term rewards. And I think that's what the entrepreneurship journey teaches you for sure, is that you every day there's a different reason to keep fighting,
Mhm.
and on your low days sometimes you have to go back to the roots and you're fighting for something bigger than you, for your family, for your employees, for your team. And the next day maybe you're fighting on a personal level to work with the biggest brand that you want to work with, or someone that's of inspiration or motivation to you. So I think every day you have different levels of motivation, and the hardest part as an entrepreneur is finding that drive every day to keep going,
Mhm.
and finding your why, and so in sports your why is to win, and an entrepreneur it's also to win, but entrepreneurship includes real life, and there's many reasons to want to win in
Mhm.
life, and I think that's what makes it the most rewarding at the end of the day, for sure.
Yeah. And what was your favorite sport? Did you continue in tennis because that's what you love the most, or just because that
No,
was?
no, no, no. I'm born on skates and in the summer with a soccer ball on my feet. So
Yeah.
no, I mean I would say listen, I played hockey at a decent level and I played soccer collegiate until I stopped to focus on tennis. So I just couldn't pick a sport. I love all sports. I would say hockey or soccer definitely is my first love. Tennis, I picked up very late and just got lucky that it was the sport I excelled the most in. But honestly, I'd be lying if I didn't tell you that hockey or soccer were my favorite sports.
Yeah. And do you still play from time to time, or now
Yeah.
you're
Yeah,
kind
for
of?
sure. It's important, for your mental health, for your just overall well-being. Like for me, I always needed to resort to sports and entrepreneurship to be better. So that's where that correlation comes back. Is like
Mm.
if I have a tough day, some people like to go to the gym or whatever it is. Like for me, it was always through sports. So I love the fact that I still play hockey, soccer, tennis, whatever it is. And in that 1 hour that you're playing, you just forget about everything,
Yeah. Yeah.
just you
100%.
enjoy. And that's what sports is all about at the end of the day. It's an outlet. And I think as an entrepreneur, you always you have to have an outlet to help you, forget about the hard days and the tough
Mhm.
times, and just literally just live a little bit.
Mhm.
And obviously it's something that helps you stay healthy too, which is super important. So I
Yeah,
still still heavily.
we're gonna dive deeper into fitness and entrepreneurship and stuff like that. That's like a later subject, but I'm glad that you touched a little bit on it. Can you also maybe like now fast forward where you are now? You have a team, you have a lot of people counting on you. I guess. What is it like now to have a whole team behind you, a whole team that you work with? How do you feel now that you have so many people that depend on you and your success to also like feed their families, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I've always liked that, to be honest, because it's an external drive again. It's another factor that helps you keep going,
Mhm.
and I've always been the more team guy. And again, this is my background in sports. Like I do a lot for my team. Like for example, this year we decided to open Elevate in Miami, and I
Mhm.
didn't want to do
Wow.
it half-fast. I was like, you know what? Everybody from the team, grab your tickets, pack your bags. Like we're all going to Miami. We did a work trip, work one day and chill for 4 days, but it was fine. It's all good. You got to take care of the team. But no, I'm really, honestly, I'm a team player. And this year especially, I've had an extremely difficult year, and without my team, I wouldn't be here with you in this interview. So I really believe in giving back to those who are there for you, and that's why I really cherish the team that I have. I'm lucky because they have my back, and I will always have theirs. So I love growing with the team, and even this year, he's in the other room. I should bring him in, but he's my right hand in my company. He's been with me forever, and
Mhm.
he's still here today. And the number one thing I'm based on, it's the biggest lesson I was taught, is loyalty. I value loyalty over anything, and luckily I have an extremely loyal team, and for that I'm extremely thankful.
Mhm. And I think that's also a representation of who you are. Again, you value loyalty, so I believe that's also the way that you shape the culture of your team. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And seeing people being loyal to you is just a reflection of who you are. That means you're also a loyal person. Because I love leadership. It's a subject that I'm really passionate about, and that's also the reason, one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on, because of the team that you've built and everything that you've built, it means that you're a great leader. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to ask you, what are the traits in your point of view? What are the traits of a good leader? In terms of what you've seen and in terms of how you operate as well.
I still think I can be better, and I think that's the number one trait is you have to be willing to continuously improve, and you have to be willing to I think the number one thing I've learned to do, especially this year, I've been forced to do it, is to delegate.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and so I think a good leader actually trusts his team, trusts the people around you. So um, I would say you got to be willing to delegate. You got to be willing to listen, and make those changes. Most importantly, I think a good leader has to lead by example, and I just believe that every day, you come in, you do your thing. I couldn't really put it into words, but I tried to just act, and I think the people around me will follow, and I love teaching them the ways that I learned. Um, and so yeah, in a way, I'm a big maybe we're getting off track a bit, but I'm a big believer in mentorship and mentors,
Yeah.
and there's two very important mentors I've had in my life, and without them, I wouldn't be the person, let alone the leader I am today. I still think I could be a much better leader, but I try to be like a mentor to my employees, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
and I try to listen and continuously improve. I think that's the best traits of a leader for sure.
Are you stuck in your fitness journey? You lack motivation? You're looking for something that is going to challenge you? Well, our upcoming upgrade challenge starting on September 18 is for you. It's a 4-week challenge designed to help you transform your body and your mindset. You have access to meal plans, workout plans according to your goals, a community, motivation, and at the end of the challenge, the best transformations are going to split a cash prize. If you're looking for motivation, it's a place to be. Head to the www.upgradefitness.net/upgrade challenge to get more information about the challenge and register. All right, I'll see you there. Back to the podcast.
Yeah, that's good. And I'm having a lot of podcasts again. I've been having a lot of podcasts with people that are great entrepreneurs, and one of the things that keeps on coming back is the willingness to learn, leading
Yeah.
by example, and like having mentors. Not thinking that because I don't know, because you're the CEO of Elevate Media, that means that you know it all. It's having that humility to say, okay, I don't know it all. There are people that are in my team that can teach me things, and there are also people outside of my teams that I can have mentors and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So I believe that this is also something that separates people that succeed and people that don't. It's people that succeed are they understand that there's always more to learn, and that they're never perfect, regardless of your goal, whether it's in fitness,
Oh,
whether it's in business, whatever it is. Even as a the best players in any sport, they have coaches. They don't know it all. There are even let's say Leo Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo, even though they are the best in their craft, they always stay students. They
oh,
always
not only
mhm,
not only that, they make mistakes, right? You have to be willing to make
exactly.
mistakes, you know.
Mhm,
It's not because you're Leo Messi that you're not going to miss a shot, you know.
mhm.
Even though right now he can't miss,
Yeah,
you know. So
yeah.
no, all jokes aside, you can't. You have to be willing to go for it. You have to be willing to take risks too,
Mhm.
and it's a give and take always, you know.
Yeah, that's good. And you touched a little bit on mentorship. What how mentorship has helped you. Can you go a little deeper? In terms of how did getting mentors has been helping you in your own journey?
Yeah, for sure. I think uh every person out there, whether they admit it or not, sometimes like you make a decision, but you doubt yourself, and you're like, is this the right way? And so the first thing I think is just for answering questions that maybe you just keep internally. Like a lot of people start something and they don't know what they're getting into.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have just a person that can just even guide you, and sometimes there's different types of people. The two mentors I have are two completely different people. One is like a big brother, a friend, and the other one happens to be my father, which he taught me every lesson in the book in my life without ever telling me anything. He just showed me everything. And I was lucky enough to share an office with my dad for the last 4 or 5 years, luckily. So I would see him every day, and you know, you can learn through mentor. You can learn through mentors in different ways. You can learn by just watching, paying attention, and picking up on their habits. And then you can also learn by what they choose to tell you and teach you. And so the two mentors I've had, one is more expressive, shows me, tells me. I can call him for anything, and he'll always, give me an honest opinion. And then you have someone like my father who would come in every day, and I would just pay attention to every little detail and everything that he did. And I hope one day to be half the person my father was, because of the way he acted. So it's I think if you're lucky enough to have someone like that in your life, you have to make the most of them. And that's what I tried to do with these two important people in my life. And luckily, um it's brought me to where I am today. And without either of them, I wouldn't have the confidence or the knowledge to be where I am today. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that there's that quote that says success leaves schools, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
just watch these people work, the work ethic, how they treat people, their relationships, just how they operate on a day-to-day
Yeah.
shows a lot about who they truly are. And again, you following those steps you know just brought you who you are today. So yeah, that's a really good Jen, that's a really good takeaway. I know also that as entrepreneurs, I guess that's always a subject that I love to touch on, because I feel like we get to glorify entrepreneurship a little too much. Everybody wants to be entrepreneurs because again, maybe it's a lifestyle, whatever it is, but we don't always understand whatever everything that an entrepreneur has to go through. And I always like to just get a little segment of maybe talk a little bit about some hard times that you've went through as an entrepreneur, and how did you get to overcome those difficult situations, just so that people can understand that, hey, entrepreneurship can be beautiful, but it can also be one heck of a hassle, what I'm saying? So can you just talk a little bit about the hard times that you've been through as an entrepreneur, I'm saying?
I'll tell you what, like I've been doing this for a long time now, at least for me. I've been doing it for the last 7 years of my life. Um, I think this word hard times and this word hardships, and it's really just in your head. Like you can have a bad day and think you're going through a hard time. You can have a bad week and think you're going through a hard time. The truth is this is the hardest year of my life, and has nothing to do with work, unfortunately. And I thought I knew what a hardship was and everything was until this year. And so what this has helped me understand is that, you know, like I always, I was always grateful in life, even before my business, because I always understood the concept that I'm lucky to have what I have, to be where I am. You know, there's always someone who has it worse.
Mm-hmm.
And the unfortunate thing about life sometimes is that the unexpected can happen to anybody any day. That happened to us this year, to me and my family, and that was the hardest, you know, the lowest of lows, if you will. And I think that's the thing with being entrepreneurs. You see yourself in this world where it's just you and your business, or you as a business.
Mm-hmm.
Thing is, there's life, there's all these other things out there, there's your family, there's, you know, and I think the reason you're an entrepreneur is always for something else. If it's for yourself, then it's to be at a higher level, to make more money, to support your family. But when you break it down and you think about just life in general, or everything as a context, these hardships are not actually as hard as they seem. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what life hardens you, life toughens you, you know. And sometimes some people have it easier than others. Sometimes you have to, you know, get through the lowest of lows to get back to the highs. But the, you know, I'll give you an example. Like, you know, a classic for an entrepreneur, like a client decides not to pay you for whatever reason, you know. When you're in year one and you're barely making any money and you're relying on this check, it's a hardship, because it's like, man, I have to go through another month and grind. And but it's just money, right? At the end of the day,
Yep.
it's means to an end. You know, that's how I feel about money. Now, fast forward to year 7. If you're stable and you're able to, you know, support employees and everything around you, I think the toughest hardship you can have is something happened to you, because then you're no longer there to protect and to act upon the business. So everything's relative. As you get bigger, the problems get bigger, but also the experience is there and you're able to find a solution.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've ranted a little bit on this. Um, but yeah, I would say that's the, you know, the biggest hardship for me is if you're not 100% in it, then you're not giving the best of what you can give to yourself, to your team. And I just lived this year, you know. We were talking about the mentors and everything, and unfortunately I lost my father. I lost my mentor this year, and that brought me to the lowest of lows. And I think you know, for one reason or the other, if, you know, if I didn't have a team around me, like we spoke about it earlier, you know, I wouldn't be here doing this interview. I'd have no interest in Elevate. And so, you know, you gotta fight yourself and find a reason, whatever it is, to just keep fighting, you know, to live another day. uh and yeah, and so I think that's my personal situation right now. Is I'm going through the hardship right now. I'm going through
Mm-hmm.
the hardest
Yeah.
of hards, if you will. And I think there's a lot to learn from it, and I'm sure, hopefully, in, you know, if, you know, things will get better and I'll be able to look back and be like, you know what, every day I fought to, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and for one reason or the other, you find a way to keep going. And I think that's entrepreneurship in a nutshell, you know.
Yeah, and honestly, one of the things that you mentioned before, just the team that you've built, you know, you've poured into them, and today they're a part of your support system in hard times and hardships, and again, that just shows what, you know, what kind of men you are because of the people that you have around you. You know, to
Mm.
have people that are so loyal to you, that can, you know, support you in those hard times. And again, I feel like that's one thing that people can neglect, is taking care of the people around them, because at some point you're gonna need someone to take care of you. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna need a shoulder to cry on, or just, you know, support you in a hard time. So kudos to you, because of the type of men you are, your character, and what you've built, your values and your principles. Today you can have a great support system because of the relationship that you've, you know, maintained and nourished through the years. And these are people that are close to you. They're not just workers or employees. They became friends as well. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
Listen, when you go into a journey like this, you're it becomes bigger than you at one point. You know, you're
Mm-hmm.
doing it for the people around you. And like you said, you don't, I don't believe in surviving without a team. You know, there's you start, you're alone, you know, you fake it till you make it type of thing, and then and then you have all these sets of responsibilities that come up, and you have people who, you know, you have to show up every day for, and a good team shows up for their for each other, you know. And so that's where we're at. And yeah, it's so funny because I had a huge conversation with one of my employees this morning about exactly this. And I'm going to give her a big shout out in this podcast when it comes out, because we were just talking about this morning. And it's important to value the people in your team, because sometimes they don't even know how much impact they can have on a leader per se. And in the last couple of months, my team has had a huge impact on me, for sure.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, I guess now we can maybe do a little segue into talking more about something that, you know, I mentioned before. I know you're someone that takes care of his health. You know, you train. I mean, babe, I don't know if you go to the gym, but I know you play sports. How taking care, I mean, first, what is your relationship with fitness and health as an entrepreneur? And can you talk also a little bit about how it's helped you as an entrepreneur to perform, to show up every day? You know what I'm saying?
I think it's a never ending like fight, honestly. Like when you're an entrepreneur, a lot of entrepreneurs, the notion in their head is like, okay, I'm gonna kill myself every day, and it's gonna take every ounce of my energy. So you don't give energy for the things after. And I don't think it's just with health, actually. I think it's with life in general. You have to get to a point where you find balance. You know, and one thing that it's something I look up to a lot of people. You know, people are able to get up at 6 a.m., go to the gym before they come into work 9 to 5, and then I'm trying to get there. You know, it's up and down. I'm not in the best space right now, whether it is mentally or whatever. I know I'm fine, but I'm fighting. I'm trying to go to the gym every day. I'm not quite there yet, honestly. Fitness and being healthy is it's a big thing for me. Like I still play sports 2-3 times a week, but I'm trying to get back there to, you know, to the daily, you know, taking care of yourself, because as an entrepreneur, whether you like it or not, if you're giving your 100% in everything that you do, you're killing yourself. And you have to have, I really believe in balance, like more than ever now. You know, there's more to life than just working, you know.
Yeah, I
And
understand. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
no, you dive into it when you're an entrepreneur, and you're you know, you're trying to start, especially, like all that you know is just, how can I be better? How can I do this? There's no, the notion of hours disappears, you know, if you, so I think it's important to give yourself that time to stay healthy, because if you're not healthy, you know, you can't keep going, unfortunately. So
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, go ahead. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I was just saying that I agree with what you say, because I think as entrepreneurs it's easy to get caught up in like the rabbit hole of just working, and then it's the next project, and then it's more problems, and then you forget to, you know, fill up your own cup. You know, you forget you take so much care of your business and your employees and XYZ, and you forget to take care of your own vehicle. And again, what's the point of, you know, doing all that if you don't even have the health to benefit from it, you know? So I feel like yeah, I see a lot of entrepreneurs getting caught up in just the grind, that they forget about their health, whether it's physical, whether it's mental health, whether it's whatever, you know what I'm saying? And as you said, there has to be a certain balance, because at some point you're going to burn out if you don't take care of those things early on, you know what I'm saying? So yeah.
The toughest lesson that I learned this year, because it hit close to home, and unfortunately, you know, sometimes, you know, the reality of life is that your body can shut down on you. Your body can keep going until it just can't take anymore. And so I really believe I really believe now I have like this new mentality change, if you will, this year, where again, balance, but life's, you know, like I love my business. I love business in general. I'm an entrepreneur, but I promise you that a lot of times everything we stress about, everything we kill ourselves for on a daily basis, it's not really worth it at the end of the day. It's just a short-term problem in our head. But if we're able to like separate ourselves even for an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, forget about that and live, that's why I don't apply it just to the gym, but if it's traveling, if it's an activity, a hobby, I believe it's super important to have that balance, so that you can come back fresh and you can have a different outlook and opinion on you know, the problem that you're dealing with. And that's the thing. I think the definition of an entrepreneur is someone who finds a solution to a problem. That's my definition of an entrepreneur. And how can you find a solution to a problem if you're not level-headed, if you're not thinking clearly?
Yeah.
So I think all of these things, mental health, physical health, but by giving your body, you know, what it deserves, the break it deserves, or the change in scenery that it deserves, you're able to wipe things clean and you know, think clearly, in my opinion. And that's something I think that's super important, because burnouts are a very common thing with entrepreneurs, and at the end of the day, it's not worth it. You know what I mean? It's not worth it. Like you no amount of stress or anxiety because of a business problem is worth, you know, killing yourself literally for. So I think you have to do everything in your power to respect yourself and your body enough to say, okay, I need a break. This problem is not worth it. Let's find a way to, you know, separate myself even for an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, and come back fresh after. You know, I think it's super.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think it goes back to just making sure your cup is full before you pour into anybody else or anything else, because otherwise, you know, you can't. There's a quote that says you can't pour from an empty cup. You know, so again, it's just making sure that your cup is full. You do the things that are gonna, you know, keep you going. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, can you also now talk a little bit about let's say someone wants to work in media, someone wants to, you know, become an entrepreneur in media just like you. What are the steps that you recommend, you know, to get to where you are today for someone that is starting or has aspirations to, you know, have a business like you?
It's hard, man. I'm not like I hate acting like, you know, the term CEO and the term, like, you know, like I believe I still have a lot of learning to do, and I'm you know, again, trying to improve every day. So I don't know if I necessarily have the right answer. I think everybody has their own you know, their own, you know, everybody's path is different, right? So I think the number one thing I believe in, I've always believed in it, is a lot of people have that CV mentality, right? If you think about that's why I decided to walk away from school, to be honest. Is a lot of people go to school, if they want to be a doctor, you need to have XXX as a requirement, right? If you want to be an engineer, you need to have XXX, you know, just to be accepted. So it's almost like you got to build a CV, right?
Yep.
My mentality in life is experience over CV, you know? So if you're able to gather enough experience, I believe you can be valuable to almost anybody in any field, because you've been there before and you know what to do. And that's what entrepreneurship is about, is when you start, you have no experience, right? So you need to cross those different steps. You need to work with those different clients. You need to be put in those different situations in order to learn how to deal with them better in the future. And so if it's in media, you know, I don't think there's one right way, because I made a bunch of mistakes on my way to being where I am today. And who says that where I am today is where you want to be, right? That's
100%.
that's like it's something that is subjective, right? So I'm not a person that's super goal driven. Like, I don't want to make Elevate the biggest thing and have this many employees. I'm not necessarily like that anymore. But when you start, you know, it's always like, oh, I want to have the downtown office with you know, the views and the, you know, but those things change. And so I think it's just about gathering enough experience and learning to be confident. I think when you start, you have all these ideas and you think it's going to be a certain way, right? And then life hits you, slaps you in the face, and then when you look back, you're like, man, I could have handled that so differently, right? So I think that's what it's about. It's just about gathering experience and learning to be confident and finding what works for you. I'll give you an example. In media, when I started, I honestly believe genuinely that I was one of the first media people in our city, at least, you know, that was doing this. And nowadays I compare social media agencies to like McDonald's. There's one at every corner of the street, you know what I mean? Because everybody is a media agency or and you know what? All creds to them, man. I'm really not a competitive person. I believe in working with others. It's part of my philosophy at Elevate too, is we collaborate a lot with creators and with other companies. I think competition is important, but at the same time, collaboration is super important too. Because I believe that everybody has their own way of providing value.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes when you're going only your own way, you're not able to open yourself up to different avenues. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was saying that's interesting because in a world where, especially in business, everybody's almost trying to tear the neighbor
Exactly.
down, you have a different approach where like, hey, I rather us collaborating and helping each other to grow and to evolve and get to the next level. That's honestly a really interesting approach. And you said that your perspective kind of shift at some point. You were super goal driven. You were like about hitting next goal, and then eventually shifted for you. How and when did it happen for you?
It happens in stages, but I would say mostly like this year. Again, it's I don't want to dwell. I've had a difficult year, but when life really hits you sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
uh it changes you. It changes you as a person. And entrepreneurship will change somebody, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but again, that's entrepreneurship. When life really hits you and things change you to a point where you can't control what happens, it then changes your perspective on life. And so I used to be like I said, goal driven. I want to be here, I want to be there. But when you start to appreciate life in the current times, you only think so far as the next day and then the next day. And so what's changed for me in the last couple of months is that I just live honestly day to day.
Mm-hmm.
I have today, I want to make it through the day. I want to do what I need to do today, and I want to show up at the end of the day, to the people that matter to me, to my family, uh, and that's all that matters. And then the next day we'll cross that bridge when it comes here.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before I used to be, and that's also changed my perspective about stressing and about why stress about things that are out of your control or that are so far ahead that they take up space in your mind. Let's just take on the challenges of today. You could still be organized, that's not a problem, but that's the big perspective and mentality change for me is living day by day and
Mm-hmm.
enjoying day by day. That's why I'm taking more breaks. If I'm not feeling it nowadays, man, I'm just, I need to go home, I need to take a break. It is what it is. There's no
Mm-hmm.
amount of money in my head, and I say this in all honesty. There is no amount of dollar or money that can replace my well-being or my family or anything that I really value
Mm-hmm.
moving forward. And that's the big perspective change for me this year. So I will happily turn down a large client or someone that, uses money as a means to, justifying like okay, I'm gonna kill myself to get this project done. For me, it's just not worth it anymore. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So
That's
I rather take on something borderline free or a project that like involves my whole team and that will help everybody grow rather than taking on something that's like working with a dream client but that will kill me in the end. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm. that,
Because
that's
I'm at
that
a point in
yeah.
my life where I don't value that anymore. I believe in my team. I believe in our ability to provide value to the corner dipper, just like we could provide value to the Montreal Canadiens. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's part of that confidence you get when you build something. And so I'm proud of what I built, and and if I'm able to live life on my own terms, that to me has more value than any dollar amount. That
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good, man. That's good. Honestly, I really like what you say because again, we live in a world that is so fat, especially in Canada. You live in Canada, I'm in Mexico, so it's a little different. But I was talking to a guy yesterday. I had a podcast yesterday, and he was saying how in Canada, in US, it's like that's this fast life. Everybody's like, again, they're going for the next thing, and sometimes you just forget to just hey, be here. There's a life to live today. There are emotions and stuff like that to live today, and I feel like if people can have more this approach of being here right now, today, the present moment, there will be way less depression, anxiety, and stuff like that. Because again, having depression, anxiety is just living at a different time than right now. Is thinking about yesterday or thinking about tomorrow
yeah,
and projects
yeah.
and whatever is coming up, that they forget to be right here, right now. So honestly, this is something that I believe the people that are listening to the podcast can really take away. And I feel like if they apply, they could see real results just to be right here in the
I
present moment.
want to build on what you're saying quickly. Like
Mhm.
I believe the number one thing I've seen over the years in my field in the world of social media too many people are putting up this front, you know, like there's too many of these entrepreneurs living such a fabulous life, but like the best life you can live is a life where you're, you know, you're genuinely happy. So you don't need to share all of that online. You know, you just need to know, again, balance, you know what I mean? I think too many people do things for the wrong reasons. You know what I mean? And as you get older, maybe it's the wisdom, maybe it's the experience, maybe it's the laziness, I don't know. But when you get older, you appreciate the little things. It's cliche, you know, it's really cliche, but the truth, that's the truth, you know. You it's like it comes in waves, you know. Like I have young siblings and I see them now getting into that social media world. My sister had a viral TikTok at 12 years old, and Jared, I made it, I'm famous, I'm, you know, but she's not going to care about that in 10 years, you know what I mean? So that's the thing with social media. When I started, I was like, yo, that's so cool, I'm gonna share this online, I'm getting packages from these companies, I'm getting, you know, like it means nothing at the end of the day if you're not happy with where you're at, you know.
Yeah.
And I'll give you a fun stat about my company, and in all honesty, okay, in the last 7 years I've ran over $1 million of ads for clients, and I don't think I've ever ran, maybe I have at this point, but like I don't think I've ran more than $100 of ads in my life for my own company
Wow.
or for myself. Meaning I'm happy with where I'm at, I'm happy with what I'm building, and I'm happy with going slowly and not rushing into things, you know. That to me has more value than just boom exploding. And again, everybody's different. Some people want to blow up, and I just want to live on my own terms, to be able to support my family and my team, and to be able to grow into bigger and better projects. And I'm happy with where we're at, and that's going to be my mentality moving forward too.
I think again what you said is really interesting. Is just making sure that you're happy with where you're at, and you're happy with the pace that you're going. You know what I'm saying? Because you said you're not really interested in like blowing up, you know, out of, you know, nowhere. You're more interested in like going at your own pace, slowly but surely, you know, building up that brand, that company, you know.
Yeah.
So that's good. And I guess I had a question about what's next for you, but I don't know if you know, did you have anything maybe in mind of what's next for you, for your company and stuff like that, or you're not even, you know, thinking about
No,
that as
listen,
of now?
this is not in a way of thinking forward, but more in the way that like my current situation is forcing me into different avenues, which is completely cool. I'm learning to you know, I'm learning a whole different industry. I'm starting to manage some different companies, some different projects too, which is exciting. It keeps me busy, and it keeps me you know, working on different things. So I'm learning. I'm learning about a cafe. I'm learning about the shoe industry. These are all things that these are part of the next projects that I have coming up on a personal level. And again, this goes back to our conversation of today. My team is able to help me support, elevate, and keep that going. So that's part of the next projects for me, is just growing into some new and different businesses. And yeah, I'm doing it for a greater goal, something bigger than me, if you will, at this point. And so that's why I'm choosing to take on these challenges. And yeah, that's my biggest goal now, is to keep the legacy alive of a person dear to me. And so I will, for that reason, I will be open to growing and learning these businesses, you know, just like I did with my own, for sure.
And if someone is maybe interested in working with your company or companies, I guess now, how can they find you? Is there a way that they can find you, learn more about you guys, see your work and stuff like that?
Apart from this podcast, apart from Upgrade, no, I'm on social media. Elevate Media is our business account, and Jeremy Serfaty on my personal Instagram. I try to be active on those platforms. But we're a bit everywhere, honestly. I think we're on YouTube, LinkedIn, all that stuff. So yeah, you guys can find us there, and on Dorian's podcast for sure.
Yeah, of course, of course. Any last word of wisdom before we keep it going?
No, just wanted to thank you for your time. I'm just happy to be here talking with you, man. That's thanks again for thinking of me. I appreciate it.
And thank you for accepting and sharing so much wisdom. Honestly, again, I feel like especially as entrepreneurs, we get caught up in that rat race. Everybody's thinking about go, 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 go. And you brought up more you know, humble, how can I say, steady pace, if I can say.
Yeah.
It's a different approach. Maybe not the first time that I hear it, but it's something that is always it's a kind of podcast that feels good to hear, because it's different than what you hear on a day to day. So honestly, thank you for the value that you've brought today. I think that the audience is really going to appreciate that. And again, man, thank you for coming. Thank you for taking the time to share your journey, your value, everything that you've been through. And yeah, man, I've enjoyed this podcast, honestly. And for the audience, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us for another podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe, like the video, leave a comment. If you're listening to this on any streaming platform, make sure to give it a 5-star. I'm not sure what it does, but I guess it helps. And yeah, as I always say, until next time, get up, get dressed, and go get what's yours. See you guys. Peace out.